68-48 win at Purdue Northwest to open conference play. Followed that up with a 47-35 win against Parkside on Saturday. Wasn't always pretty, but got a pair of W's. So now that you've had some time to process it, time to take a step away, your overall thoughts on how that first weekend went?
I'm very happy. Anytime that you can go on the road in the GLIAC and pull off 2 wins on the road, it's an awesome feeling. It's a great start to the season. We knew that it was not going to be easy for either game, but it's always fun when you can get out with a win, and not just on the first game against Purdue Northwest, but when you get to go to Parkside and win there too. It's a really good feeling coming back on the bus.
And the biggest takeaway, I think, for me at least, from this weekend was just seeing how smothering this team can be defensively. I mean, we faced 2 of the top 3 scorers in the league over the weekend in Tadriana Hurd and Alyssa Nelson. And together, they scored 10 points on 4 of 20 shooting. And as a unit, both those teams shot worse than 35%. So, I mean, the ICATS, obviously, we have great individual on-ball defenders, players like, Andrea Perez, Taya Stevenson. But what makes this team so defensively sound as a unit?
Well, that's one thing that we preach to everybody. And the way that we play our defense, you could be guarding anyone at any time. So you have to be ready to go. Focusing in on both of those, knowing that they score a lot of points, you got to get right up on them every time that they touch the ball. And not only that, but you got to be physical with them when they're cutting through the lane, when they're moving, whatever they are. They were definitely our focus of what their teams were doing. But the one thing, it takes all 5 people on the court. It's not just about one person stopping one person. Like, there's 4 other players that you got to slow down to, and you can't let anybody go off at any point in time. And so I think it was a great team effort on both ends of the court, but really on that defensive end, we kind of locked people down. And when you can hold Alyssa Nelson had 30 on that Thursday night against Michigan Tech, and then she had 2 against us, if you would have asked me that, I don't think that would have happened, but I was happy it did.
And we're certainly all better for it. So we talk about, speaking of all better for it, you got a couple of pieces back from injury for the weekend as well.
Yes.
We got Taya, who had a big scoring night on Thursday to really give the Cats a boost, and Sarah Newcomer back in the lineup as well after getting shaken up against Southwest Minnesota. So how is getting some rotation pieces back help the team as well?
It's nice. It really is, having a little bit more depth. Taya, she had a breakout game. She was eager all practice. You could tell Monday, Tuesday, she was shooting the ball really well. I was like, I hope this carries over. It'd be awesome. And when she went out there, she just didn't look back, and she just kept attacking and did her thing, which was huge. It definitely gave us a boost off the bench for sure. And same thing with Sarah. Sarah's a great asset. She can score the ball. And both of them, they played some quality minutes both on the offensive end and on the defensive end. It just changes us having a little bit more depth in that guard area. Yes, we are long and lanky, which also helps, but when we can have a couple more guards in the mix, it makes you feel a little bit better as a coach.
So the Cats putting that 2-0 conference record on the line at home against Ferris State on Friday and Lake State on Sunday this weekend. So, Coach, your thoughts on those matchups?
Ferris State's good. They beat Grand Valley last year. They, in the conference tournament, they made it to the NCAA tournament. They're very well coached. They're going to come in here, and it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a battle again. They got a couple of really good players that are all conference players who we got to slow down again. It's kind of the same thing that we just saw this last weekend. Not that they're super comparable, but Ferris State, they're going to be up in us, and they're going to be trying to get the ball and forcing us into some turnovers. We just got to control the tempo a little bit, just like we did this last weekend, and really focusing on. Idoni is really good in the post, and she can run the floor. She can grab rebounds. We gotta hold her out. But then McCartney, who also can knock down threes, so it's similar to what we've seen in the past with our non-conference opponents. We got to have a great defensive showing and really protect our home court. We got to make sure that is something that we take pride in this year with anybody who comes in. And then Lake State comes in on Sunday. And I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched it too much right now. We're still focusing on Ferris and trying to get things organized for Friday. But Lake State, again, they're another GLIAC opponent. You can't overlook anybody. It's going to be a tough battle. It's going to be, I'm down to the wire, I'm sure. So we got to play well. We got to be able to shoot the ball at home. We got to defend and just stick with what we want to do on both ends of the court.
With people coming back into the lineup now, how does that mess up your thinking a little in terms of rotation? Because right now you've got these new pieces back. How do you figure out what the rotation's going to be?
every game we're figuring out the rotation because anything could happen due to foul trouble or anything. If someone gets hot, like Taya went off when she came in against Purdue Northwest, you play her a little bit more. So as a coaching staff, we're kind of going with the flow as well and figuring out who's going to give us the best benefit on both ends of the court, depending on what they're doing. And I just told everybody on our bench, you got to be ready to go. If you have a great game, you're going to play a lot. And we're going to see if you're not having such a great game, we're going to find somebody else who is, whether it's offensively or defensively, because there's a lot of things that matter. And so it's having those open conversations and just telling our team, you got to be ready to go no matter what, no matter who's healthy, because anything could happen at any given day. You got to be ready.
So with that said, this is our last conference weekend before we get a couple of weeks off for the holidays. So how important is it for the Cats to, even if to at least play well and feel good about themselves going into that long break, because that can really kind of set the tone for the second half of the season. I mean, we saw that with the guys last year, that kind of break they had. It wasn't going well. They kind of let it simmer, let it stew for a bit, and came out explosive on the other side. So what is kind of the significance of this last weekend before you get a big break off like that?
We're focusing one day at a time. So right now our focus is Fair State. Going into that, putting up the best fight that we can here at home and really trying to protect our home court. I think we've done a great job on the road. I think we need to give a little bit more here at home. And our focus is going to be, again, on us and making sure that we're doing things that we want to do here, not just going into break, but correcting the things that we still could correct. Even though we got 2 wins, you're still, as a coach, you're never happy with that. There's certain things that you need to fix and correct, and we definitely are doing that today and tomorrow and prepping for our game on Friday, and that's really where our focus is at.